Hello viewers, welcome to another episode of Core Bang's Pump It Up video series. I am Patricia Hagley, your host. Today we'll be discussing physical health and some safe and simple activities we can engage in to improve our well-being. Our panelists are Rennie Rougier and Shian Ollivierre. Rennie is a personal trainer who has been specializing in calisthenics for the last year and a half. Calisthenics is a form of strength training that utilizes primarily your body weight. Shian is a physiotherapist with Grenada Physiotherapy Limited, health consultants for Pump It Up. Our panelists are passionate about healthy physical lifestyle choices, so let's have some healthy discussion. Hi, good day, Shian and Rennie. How are you all today?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
Okay, good. Let's just go right into it. Many persons think that exercise takes a lot of time in a day. What is the recommended time needed for persons to engage in some form of activity each day?
So, persons should engage in some form of physical activity in a day. Any form of activity or any amount of activity is good, because it's better than no form of activity. However, in terms of our recommendation, a lot of studies have been done to try to develop a standard or a goal standard towards what is a recommended amount of time in order to improve health. And according to one of the sources, which is the CDC, it's recommended that persons, or adults specifically, engage in 2 forms of activity per day, and those forms include aerobic exercise or cardio and strength training. Now, aerobic exercise, if we take that by itself, it can be broken down even further. So, broken down, you can do aerobic exercise either at a moderate intensity, at a vigorous intensity, or a mixture of both moderate and vigorous intensity. Now, what is moderate intensity? Really, it's working hard enough so that you can talk while you're exercising, but you cannot sing. So in terms of moderate intensity physical activity, it's recommended that you do 150 minutes per week. Now, if you break that down, it comes out to 30 minutes per day for 5 days. And some of the activities that can fall under moderate intensity include walking or at a brisk level, or swimming, or dancing. Now, in terms of vigorous activity, that has to do with you only being able to say a few words before you need to stop for a break.
Okay. Rennie, do you have another take on that, or you just want to add to what she just said?
Yes, and well, just to add to that, it does have a lot to do with your goals and how quickly you want to accomplish your goals as well. And also in terms of schedule, because you might want to do an hour workout a day, but your schedule doesn't allow you to do that.
Right.
So your goals and your schedule does have a part to play in how much time you could really put in and engage.
Okay, so you, Shian, you sort of answered my next question. What are some of the activities that can be easily incorporated? So just repeat that again so persons can have an idea. The simple activities that can be done daily. Just say that again for us.
So one of them is walking, and you can walk at a brisk level, you can then run, you can jog. Stretching is something that you can easily incorporate into your daily life, whether in the morning, at night. Swimming, if you live close to a beach, that's something that's very easy to do. Taking the stairs, if you live in a building, or you walk in a building that has stairs, you can do that as well.
And even something as simple as being mindful of your breathing.
Right.
Breathing is actually a form of exercise. Deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. That engages your core as well.
Okay. Excellent, excellent. So let's just go into NEAT. You both are professionals and you know what NEAT means, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. What activity or lifestyle changes can persons engage in to improve their NEAT?
So NEAT, really just to give an idea of what it is the energy that you expend or you use during your daily life, you doing activities other than sleep, eat, or sports related or exercise. And some of the lifestyle changes that you can do or make in order to meet or increase your NEAT are actually typing, walking, using stairs, typing, fidgeting. So if you're on a phone and you're taking a call, fidgeting, walking up and down, that's not something that you're mindful of, but it adds to the calories that you burn per day.
So we just continue in the discussion, and one exercise regimen, what specific exercise regimen would you recommend to someone who, you just spoke on swimming and walking and so, but persons who have different challenges, persons who are trying to lose weight, what are the specific exercise regimen we can use for persons in that category? Persons who are trying to lose weight, persons who may have a health condition, persons who may have some physical health challenge. So Rennie, help us with this one. What specific exercise regimen would you recommend?
Well, generally with my clients, I recommend like high cardio. You want to make sure you're burning calories and so on. But also it depends on what your goal is, like I said previously, how quickly you want to lose weight, how much weight you want to lose. That will determine what exercises you do. In terms of if you have a health condition, first I always tell people they need to go to their doctors and find out if they can do certain things, and we were discussing that earlier. Right. You have to know if you're capable of actually doing some of those exercises before you even start. Disabilities, again, same thing. If you have a leg injury, you wouldn't be able to do certain leg exercises. So it's knowing where you stand really and truly would determine what you can do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just to add to that, as he said about going to the doctor first, it's very important that before you begin any new exercise regimen, that you are properly screened and thereafter cleared to be able to do exercise, because exercise has a lot of effects and physiological changes, and if you are not aware of what those are and you just begin an exercise program, especially if you start at a vigorous level, you can start having a lot of negative effects. So it's very important that you are cleared by a relevant healthcare professional.
Right. I know a lot of people, especially men, want to lose weight, so they just go, I guess, pick up some big weight and not understanding exactly what needs to be done. So I like the fact that you said it's important to get that clearance from your doctor, and then you work with your physiotherapist and then you take it from there. I like that idea. Rennie, let's just touch on strength resistance training, and how does it improve our physical health?
Well, as the name suggests, basically it improves your strength and endurance. And that's pretty much what strength resistance is about. You want to, it would help with, in terms of your muscles, your joints, a complete total build of the body, and it helps you with certain jobs that you may have. You may find that you're able to perform those jobs better with strength resistance training. Okay,
a lot of people think, okay, gym might be expensive, I can't afford to go in the gym. Do you really need to be a member of a gym to have that strength resistance training?
Well, no, you don't. And what I do is calisthenics, as you mentioned before, right, which is primarily body weight fitness. And I like to define it as a discipline and an art form that allows you to master your body using natural movement. So you don't really need weights. Weights do help to speed up the process. It does take longer with calisthenics, but calisthenics can do the same job.
Okay.
Yep.
How longer?
It depends on how much work you're putting in, really.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not a specific number.
And what
work you're putting in on a daily basis.
And what would you recommend?
I usually recommend an hour. That's how I deal with my.
Per day.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not even every day. At least 3 days a week. Okay. That's my recommendation for my clients.
Okay.
3 times a week for an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
What specific activities, maybe that's where the physiotherapist comes in, what specific activities can we do to really improve our strength?
Okay, so some basic things, lifting weights, and you realize that you may be starting at a particular weight, which is usually recommended to be a lower one, and then as you do the repetitions and you do more and more, you're able to lift greater weights. Another thing is using resistance bands, and they usually come in different colors, and the colors represent the amount of load that you're getting or the resistance. Another thing would be your body. So you use your body weight to strengthen. Okay. Yeah. So doing things like squats and push-ups, sit-ups, those things require your body weight.
Excellent.
And just to add to the body weight, you can also do isolated exercises or isometric exercises, for example, a plank. That is where you're no movement, you're just steady in one position. That actually does some static contraction on the muscles, and that helps to build strength as well.
Okay, we spoke a lot about weights and walking and swimming and so, but tell us how does diet and nutrition play a role in our overall physical health?
Okay, so really you want to be very careful with the foods that you eat and consume, because those things cumulatively they can lead to chronic illnesses, and a lot of studies has been showing the implications of certain foods and eating them for a long period, that they lead to things like high cholesterol, to hypertension, stroke, heart disease, which is something that's really common in the Caribbean, in Grenada. And so you have to be mindful of the foods that you eat. So some tips that's accepted worldwide would be to consume less sugar, consume less salt, keep hydrated, so drink a lot of water.
Yes, yeah, and just to add to that, if you're trying to lose weight, like I always tell clients, diet is 70% of the journey, and exercise only takes up about 30%. You really can't do one without the other.
Okay.
You have to eat properly in order to get the results that you're looking for, and that's if you're trying to lose weight. In terms of just working out in general, proper diet assists you with having the energy levels that you need to complete your exercises and just take you through your workouts.
Okay.
So you need to make sure that you're eating right, you need to stay hydrated, you have to use a lot of water, and yeah, that's very important.
So as you know, the main aim of the Pump It Up Fun Walk, the proceeds go towards the re-establishment of the Carlton home. Tell us a little about substance abuse, and how does excessive alcohol consumption impact fitness or person's fitness journey?
In terms of alcohol consumption and excessive alcohol consumption, it has been researched, and it's found that excessive alcohol consumption can impair person's immune function and healing. So you can realize that if you're excessively consuming alcohol, your ability to recover from injuries may be lengthened, as well as you may be at an increased risk for developing injuries while you exercise. Okay. Another thing that they found with alcohol is that it can also impair some cardiovascular functions.
Rennie, you wanted to add something to that?
Yes, and well, just to add that anything could really be abused. You can abuse food as well. Food can fall under substance abuse. Right. So for instance, someone who's trying to lose weight, you know that sugar actually adds to your weight gain. But you like to eat a lot of chocolate, or you like to use a lot of sweets, and you're doing it over and over and over, that would have a negative impact on the sort of results that you would get and how quickly you would get those results. So it would definitely impact your journey and how quickly you can accomplish what you're trying to accomplish.
And it's important for persons to know these things, because especially when you have a specific goal in mind, right, it's important to know what to take, what not to take, what should be done, when it should be done. And a lot of people take it for granted. So that's very important. I'm happy that we touched on that.
Yeah, and too much of anything isn't good, really.
Exactly.
So
too much of anything is
balanced.
good for nothing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Everything in moderation.
Yes.
Right.
Right. So let's just touch a bit. We spoke about walking, swimming, the negative impact of substance abuse and so. But a lot of people do these physical activities and not gearing up properly. Tell us why that is important, and why should we do that safely?
So if you think about exercises such as walking or running or jumping, it's a lot of impact on your feet. Right. You're basically putting a lot of force and load on your feet, on your lower limbs, and they are not separate. So if you're taking a lot of weight on your ankles or in your feet, then it translates into other parts of the body as well in trying to compensate for what may be injured. So it's very important that you wear the right shoes, when exercising, specific to the particular exercises that you're doing. So it's important that you have good arch support. It's important that you have good heel support. It's important that your shoes are not improperly fitted, so neither too tight or too small or too big, because you must be comfortable. Because if you're moving constantly, you may get abrasions, you may be in pain, which may affect your posture and alignment, which leads to a whole cycle of things.
Right, and I know a lot of people, a lot of persons are into hiking now, you know, especially during the lockdown, and so you saw a lot of persons exploring our beautiful island. So Rennie, tell us the importance of the specific footwear that should be worn. You mean you're going to hike and you can't just put on any old thing, you can't put on the slippers, you know, so why is that important in those sort of exercise? And hiking is a major form of exercise. Tell us a little more.
Okay, so footwear and clothing is important really for comfort. That's the main reason, comfort and avoiding injuries. So for example, you said hiking. You don't want to go hiking with a shoe that is going to not be laced up properly, reach all the way up to your ankles, because you can misstep and you can end up damaging yourself. So you want to make sure that you have the right hiking shoes to deal with the terrain, stuff like that. It can't be a soft shoe, you have to have a firm shoe so that it can support you while you take that hike. Okay,
and talking about footwear, you hear a lot of persons mention, well, this shoes is not for walking and this is not for running, and just tell us a little more on the importance of wearing the specific footwear.
Yeah, well, because these shoes are designed specifically to give you a certain level of support. And if you don't have that specific shoes made for that, you'll find that you have pains in your feet, along your legs. You'll find you're having pains that you could have really avoided just by wearing the right shoe. Even with your clothing as well, you want to make sure that you have breathable clothing, because you're going to sweat a lot to keep you from, getting too hot and overheating. You want to have breathable clothing when you're doing, certain physical activities.
And that leads me right to the other question about the specific practices persons must observe to prevent injury or any long-term joint damage.
Okay, so a few tips as it relates to that would be choosing activities specific to you. Now, if you have certain health conditions, as we already spoke about, if you have certain challenges, you need to choose activities that would not contraindicate whatever activities that you're doing. Another thing is that you need to have proper technique and form. So you don't want to be doing a particular activity or exercise and you're not doing the correct thing, because you can cause injury. Staying hydrated, you need to ensure that you're warming up effectively, cooling down properly. You need to ensure that you are eating correctly. Right footwear and clothing, all of those things can help.
Okay, I'm really glad you touched on cooling down and warming up. And so a lot of people, you're going to walk and you just start walking, or you finish walking, or you finish exercising, and you just let us know the importance of that in preparing the body for what we're about to do.
So warm up effectively, it prepares the cardiovascular system for the exercises that you're about to do. So basically, it increases blood flow to particular muscle groups, and it also increases body temperature. And that is very important, because you don't want a shock in the system when you just begin, and especially if you're just doing something that's vigorous and you go all in. So that's very important. And in terms of cooling down is just to get you to a pre-recovery heart rate and blood pressure, and it aids in really cooling down the body.
So in terms of avoiding injuries and so on, you definitely want to make sure that you're stretching properly before and after a workout. You want to make sure also that you're getting enough sleep. That's very important. It does affect the body if you're not sleeping enough and getting enough rest. Also, drinking a lot of water. Water is pretty important when it comes to working out. So I think these three things are really key to mention in terms of avoiding any injury and so on.
Perfect. Viewers, there we have it. We heard it from the horse's mouth. Two professionals, Shian Ollivierre, our physiotherapist, and our personal trainer, Mr. Rennie Rougier. Thank you so much for being part of our Pump It Up video series. And we hope to put what you said into practice. And we know the importance of physical training and the importance of drinking water, wearing the right foot gear and so on. We thank you so much for being part of this wonderful initiative with us as we continue to pump it up. We'll now take a short message from Guardian General Insurance OECS Limited, one of the Renaissance benefactors who has been supporting the re-establishment of the Carlton Home Initiative.
One of the core values of Guardian is making today better than you were yesterday. And if we can assist in making people better today than they were yesterday by assisting in curbing alcohol and substance abuse, it's a step in the right direction into making your life today better than it was yesterday and going into the future.